The sky above New York City turned an eerie shade of purple. People on the streets stopped in their tracks, their eyes fixed on the strange phenomenon unfolding above them. Suddenly, a massive ship emerged from the clouds, its sleek metallic surface reflecting the city lights below. Sarah Johnson, a young office worker, stood frozen on the sidewalk. Her coffee cup slipped from her hand, spilling its contents on the pavement. Around her, chaos erupted as people started to run, their screams filling the air. "Look at the size of that thing," someone shouted. The alien vessel, easily the size of Central Park, hovered silently over the city. Its presence was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. Similar scenes played out in major cities across the globe. London, Tokyo, Moscow, and Beijing all reported the appearance of these enormous ships. In Washington, D.C., President Emily Rodriguez was rushed to a secure bunker. Her advisors crowded around her, their faces pale with fear and uncertainty. "Madam President, we've lost all satellite communications," the Secretary of Defense reported, his voice shaking. "Our military is blind." President Rodriguez took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. "Have they made any hostile moves?" she asked. Before anyone could answer, every screen in the room flickered to life. The same image appeared on televisions, smartphones, and computers worldwide. A tall, humanoid figure with silver skin and piercing blue eyes. The alien spoke, its voice resonating in a language no one understood. Yet, somehow, everyone could comprehend its message. "People of Earth," the alien began, its tone firm but not unkind. "I am High Commander Zach Strahl of the Galactic Empire. We have come with a warning." In New York, Sarah huddled with strangers in a coffee shop, all eyes glued to the television. The alien's next words sent a chill down her spine. "Your species stands at a crossroads. You have begun to explore the stars, but you are not ready for what lies beyond. The galaxy is a dangerous place, filled with threats you cannot imagine." Images flashed across the screens, strange creatures, devastating weapons, and worlds torn apart by cosmic forces. Sarah felt her stomach churn at the sight. High Commander Zach Strahl continued, "For your own safety, and the safety of the galaxy, we issue this warning. Stay on Earth. Do not venture into space. Any attempt to leave your solar system will be met with force." The president's advisors erupted in angry protests, but she silenced them with a raised hand. Her mind raced, trying to understand the implications of this ultimatum. Back in New York, Sarah stumbled out of the coffee shop, her mind reeling. The alien ship still loomed overhead, a constant reminder of the bizarre turn the day had taken. As she walked home, she overheard snippets of conversation from the people around her. "Who do they think they are, telling us what to do?" An elderly man grumbled. "Maybe they're right. Space looks scary," a young mother said, clutching her child close. Sarah's phone buzzed with messages from friends and family, all asking if she was safe, all expressing disbelief at what was happening. She didn't know how to respond. How could anyone process something like this? As night fell, the alien ships remained in position above Earth's major cities. News channels broadcasted nonstop, with experts offering wild theories and politicians demanding action. Social media exploded with hashtags like #AlienWarning and #EarthUnderSiege trending worldwide. In her apartment, Sarah sat by the window, staring at the massive ship that had changed everything in a matter of hours. She thought about her childhood dreams of becoming an astronaut, of exploring the stars. Now those dreams seemed not just impossible, but forbidden. As she watched, smaller crafts began to leave the mothership, descending towards various points in the city. Fear gripped her heart. Were they coming for them now? But the crafts merely hovered at different altitudes, forming a complex network around the city. Similar reports came in from around the world. It seemed the Galactic Empire was setting up some kind of monitoring system. Sarah's phone rang. It was her best friend, Mike, a graduate student in astrophysics. "Sarah, are you seeing this? Mike's voice was a mix of fear and excitement. "They're creating a containment field around Earth. We're being quarantined from the rest of the universe." As the reality of their situation sank in, Sarah felt a strange mix of emotions. Fear of the unknown, anger at being confined, but also a spark of defiance. Who were these aliens to tell humanity what they could or couldn't do? Little did Sarah know, this was just the beginning. Humanity's greatest challenge, and its finest hour, was yet to come. The world woke up to a new reality. Alien ships still hovered over major cities, a constant reminder of humanity's cosmic confinement. In the days following the warning, chaos reigned. Stock markets crashed, religions grappled with the implications of extraterrestrial life, and governments struggled to maintain order. In Washington, D.C., President Emily Rodriguez stood before a sea of reporters. Her face, though tired, showed determination. "My fellow citizens of Earth," she began, her voice steady, "we face an unprecedented challenge. But let me be clear. We will not bow to threats, no matter their origin." Cheers erupted from the crowd. In New York, Sarah Johnson watched the press conference on her phone, her heart swelling with pride. "I have called for an emergency meeting of the United Nations," President Rodriguez continued. "Together, we will form a global response to this galactic ultimatum." As world leaders gathered in New York, protests broke out in cities worldwide. Some demanded immediate action against the aliens, while others called for compliance with the warning. Streets filled with both fearful and angry voices. Sarah found herself drawn to a protest in Central Park. Thousands had gathered, holding signs that read "Earth for Earthlings" and "We choose our own destiny." A speaker stood on a makeshift stage, his voice booming over the crowd. "They think they can cage us. Humanity has never backed down from a challenge. We've conquered oceans, climbed mountains, and yes, we've already touched the stars. No alien empire will stop us now." The crowd roared its approval. Sarah felt a surge of excitement. Maybe humanity wasn't as helpless as she'd feared. Meanwhile, in a secret underground facility, Dr. Aisha Khan worked tirelessly. As one of Earth's leading astrophysicists, she had been called upon to help understand the alien technology. "It's unlike anything we've ever seen," she murmured, studying holographic projections of the alien ships. Her colleague, Dr. James Chen, nodded in agreement. "Their energy readings are off the charts," he said. "If we could harness even a fraction of that power." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Dr. Khan rushed to a nearby terminal, her eyes widening at the data streaming across the screen. "James, look at this," she called out. "The aliens, they're scanning the planet, but they're focusing on specific locations." Dr. Chen leaned in, his brow furrowed. "Ancient sites, the pyramids, Stonehenge, the Nazca lines. But why?" Before they could ponder further, a military officer burst into the lab. "Doctors, you're needed in the war room immediately. We're detecting unusual activity from the alien ships." In New York, Sarah noticed a change in the massive ship above. Parts of its hull began to shift and glow. Around her, people pointed and shouted, some running in panic. Her phone buzzed with an emergency alert. "Remain calm and seek shelter immediately. This is not a drill." Heart pounding, Sarah ducked into a nearby subway station along with dozens of others. The ground trembled slightly, and a strange humming filled the air. Above ground, beams of light shot from the alien ships, striking seemingly random points around the globe. But there was nothing random about it. Each beam targeted an ancient site or mysterious structure whose origins had puzzled archaeologists for centuries. In the UN, heated debates ground to a halt as news of the alien activity spread. President Rodriguez stood up, her face grim. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said, her voice cutting through the panic, "it's clear the Galactic Empire is not content with mere warnings. They're taking action. We must decide now how humanity will respond." The room erupted in shouts and arguments. Some called for immediate military action, others for attempts at communication. A few even suggested full compliance with the alien demands. As the debate raged, a junior aide rushed in, whispering urgently to the Secretary General. The older man's face paled. "Silence, please," he shouted, raising his hands. "We've just received word from our scientific team. The alien beams, they're not weapons. They appear to be activating something." A hush fell over the room. Activating what? And why? Back in the underground facility, Dr. Khan stared at her screens in disbelief. The data flowing in from the affected sites was unlike anything she'd ever seen. "It's like they're waking up," she whispered. "These ancient sites, they're not just monuments. They're machines, alien machines that have been sleeping for thousands of years." As this revelation began to spread, humanity faced a chilling realization. Earth had never truly been theirs alone. And now, the original owners seemed to be returning to claim it. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of humanity. The question was, were they ready for it? Dr. Aisha Khan's heart raced as she sprinted through the underground facility. Alarms blared, and red lights flashed in the corridors. She clutched a tablet to her chest, its screen displaying data that could change everything. "We need to get this to the president," she shouted to Dr. James Chen, who struggled to keep up. Suddenly, the facility shook. Dust fell from the ceiling as the tremors intensified. "What was that?" James asked, his voice shaking. Aisha's eyes widened with realization. "The machines. They're fully awake now." Meanwhile, in New York City, Sarah Johnson emerged from the subway to a world transformed. The giant alien ship overhead pulsed with energy, but it wasn't attacking. Instead, it seemed to be communicating with something on the ground. All around her, people pointed and gasped. Sarah followed their gaze to the horizon, where an impossible sight greeted her. The Statue of Liberty, that iconic symbol of freedom, was moving. Its copper skin shifted and reformed, revealing complex machinery underneath. The tablet in its hand glowed with strange symbols, and its eyes blazed with an otherworldly light. Similar reports flooded in from around the globe. The pyramids of Giza opened like flower petals, revealing a massive energy core. Stonehenge rearranged itself into a towering antenna. The Easter Island statues uprooted themselves and marched into the sea. In Washington, D.C., President Rodriguez stared at the screens in the Situation Room, her face a mask of shock and awe. "Madam President," a general said, his voice tense, "we're detecting energy signatures from these awakened sites. They're off the charts." Before she could respond, the door burst open. Dr. Khan rushed in, out of breath and disheveled. "Madam President," she gasped, "I know what's happening, and why the Galactic Empire wanted us to stay away from space." All eyes turned to her as she connected her tablet to the main screen. Complex diagrams and ancient symbols filled the display. "These aren't just random alien artifacts," Aisha explained. "They're part of a vast, planet-wide defense system. Earth is. It's a fortress." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. President Rodriguez leaned forward, her eyes intense. "Explain," she demanded. Dr. Khan took a deep breath. Millions of years ago, an ancient race faced a terrible enemy. They built this system to protect themselves, using entire planets as bases. Earth was one of them. "But why warn us to stay on Earth?" the president asked. "Because," Aisha said, her voice filled with wonder, "we're not just sitting on their technology. We're part of it. Human beings. We're the missing piece of the defense system." Back in New York, Sarah watched in awe as people around her began to change. It started subtly, a faint glow in their eyes, a newfound strength in their movements. She looked at her own hands and gasped. Faint lines of energy pulsed beneath her skin. All over the world, humans found themselves connected to the ancient machinery. Knowledge flooded their minds, how to operate the defenses, the nature of the threat they faced, the true history of their species. In orbit, the Galactic Empire ships began to retreat. Their warning hadn't been a threat, but a desperate attempt to keep humanity from activating the very weapon they now controlled. As understanding spread, fear turned to determination. Humanity had been thrust onto a galactic stage, but they were far from helpless. President Rodriguez stood before the United Nations once more, her eyes glowing softly with newfound power and knowledge. People of Earth, she began, her voice carried to every corner of the globe. Today we learn the truth about our past and our potential. We are not merely inhabitants of this planet. We are its guardians, the key to a power beyond imagination. She paused, looking at the faces before her, human faces now marked with the legacy of an ancient, advanced civilization. The Galactic Empire sought to keep us ignorant and weak. But in doing so, they've awakened a force they can't control. We will not hide. We will not cower. Today, humanity takes its rightful place among the stars. Cheers erupted around the world. In New York, Sarah felt a surge of pride and purpose. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with dangers beyond imagination. But for the first time since the aliens arrived, she felt hope. As one, humanity looked to the stars, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them in the vast, unknown galaxy. The days following the Great Awakening were unlike any in human history, as people around the world came to terms with their newfound abilities and the staggering revelations about Earth's true nature. Society teetered on the brink of chaos. In New York City, Sarah Johnson walked down streets that buzzed with an energy she could now see and feel. People moved with newfound purpose, their eyes glowing faintly as they tapped into the ancient power flowing through their veins. "It's like we're all connected now," she murmured to herself, feeling the pulse of millions of minds linked to the planetary defense system. Suddenly, a commotion erupted nearby. A group of people, fearful of the changes, had surrounded a man whose body was starting to transform more visibly, his skin taking on a metallic sheen. "Stay back, freak," one of the group shouted, raising a fist. Without thinking, Sarah stepped forward. She raised her hand, and a shimmering barrier appeared between the two groups. "Stop," she commanded, surprised by the authority in her voice. "We're all in this together now. Fighting each other is exactly what our enemies want." The crowd paused, then slowly dispersed. The man with the metallic skin nodded gratefully to Sarah before hurrying away. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., President Rodriguez sat in the Oval Office, her mind linked to leaders around the globe. The ability to communicate instantaneously across vast distances was just one of the many gifts the awakening had brought. "We need to unite," she thought, her message reaching presidents, prime ministers, and monarchs worldwide. "Our planet is a fortress, but we are its army. Divided, we fall. United, we can face anything the galaxy throws at us." Agreement flowed back to her from every corner of the Earth. Centuries-old conflicts and rivalries faded in the face of this new cosmic threat. In the hidden facility beneath the Nevada desert, Dr. Aisha Khan worked tirelessly. Her mind interfaced directly with ancient alien computers, sifting through millennia of data. "It's incredible," she said to Dr. Chen, who was similarly engrossed. "The beings who built this system, they called themselves the progenitors. They seeded life on countless worlds, hoping to create species that could one day inherit their legacy. And we're one of those species," Chen marveled. "But why did they disappear?" Before Aisha could respond, an alarm blared. Red lights flashed as a holographic display sprang to life, showing the solar system. Multiple objects detected entering the system. An AI voice announced, "Signatures match Galactic Empire ships. Estimated time to Earth orbit, 6 hours." Aisha's eyes widened. "They're coming back, and in force this time." The news spread instantly through the global mind link. Around the world, people stopped what they were doing, a collective gasp echoing across continents. In London, a young boy's toys floated in the air as he unconsciously tapped into his new powers. In Rio de Janeiro, A woman found herself suddenly understanding and speaking every language she heard. In Tokyo, an elderly man's failing eyesight was restored, his eyes now capable of seeing spectrums far beyond normal human vision. Each person, in their own way, felt the call to action. President Rodriguez's voice resonated in every mind. People of Earth, the time has come. We face our first true test as guardians of this world, but we do not face it alone. Every human, every awakened sight, every piece of technology left to us by the progenitors, we stand united. Sarah found herself moving without conscious thought, her feet carrying her towards the Statue of Liberty. Others joined her, streams of people converging on awakened sights around the globe. As they approached, the ancient machines hummed to life. The statue's eyes blazed brighter, and its tablet projected a massive holographic display of the approaching enemy fleet. Sarah placed her hand on the statue's base, feeling the thrum of power. She was no longer just Sarah Johnson, office worker from New York. She was part of something greater, a guardian of Earth. In Nevada, Aisha and her team raced to unlock more of the progenitor's secrets. In Washington, President Rodriguez and world leaders coordinated their strategy. And in every city, town, and village across the planet, humans prepared for battle. As the Galactic Empire ships drew closer, humanity stood ready, united, awakened, and determined to protect their home. The greatest challenge in Earth's history was about to begin, but for the first time, humans faced the stars not as a primitive species, but as the rightful heirs to an ancient and powerful legacy. The stage was set for an epic confrontation that would determine the fate of not just Earth, but potentially the entire galaxy. As the Galactic Empire's fleet approached Earth, the planet buzzed with feverish activity. In the underground facility in Nevada, Dr. Aisha Khan's fingers flew over holographic keyboards, her mind directly interfaced with the ancient alien computers. "We're missing something," she muttered, frustration evident in her voice. "The progenitors wouldn't have left us defenseless." Dr. Chen nodded, his own eyes glowing as he sifted through data streams. "Maybe we're thinking too much like humans. We need to think like the progenitors." Suddenly, Aisha's eyes widened. "That's it, James. We're not just the key to the defense system. We're meant to improve it." In New York, Sarah Johnson stood atop the Statue of Liberty, which had transformed into a towering control center. Her mind linked with thousands of others across the globe, each person manning a different part of Earth's defenses. "Energy readings are off the charts," someone reported through the link, "but we still don't know how to focus it." Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the pulse of power beneath her feet. Without fully understanding how, she reached out with her mind, touching the very essence of the defense system. In that moment, she saw flashes of the past. The progenitors, a race of beings made of pure energy, seeding life across the galaxy. She saw their enemies, dark and formless, consuming entire worlds. And she saw Earth, a hidden fortress, with humanity as its sleeping guardians. "We're not just soldiers," Sarah gasped, the revelation flooding through the global link. "We're the weapons themselves." In Washington, D.C., President Rodriguez received the insight with a mix of awe and determination. She turned to her advisors, their faces illuminated by the glow of their awakened powers. "Send the word," she commanded. "Every human on Earth needs to focus their energy on the defense grid. We are the power source." The message spread instantly. In cities, towns, and villages across the planet, people stopped what they were doing. They turned their faces to the sky, channeling their newfound energy into the ancient machines. Back in Nevada, Aisha's computers lit up with new data. "It's working," she shouted. "The defense grid is charging faster than we ever imagined possible." On screens worldwide, the approaching Galactic Empire fleet loomed large. Their ships, once terrifyingly advanced, now seemed clumsy compared to the sleek efficiency of the awakened Earth. As the enemy entered the outer reaches of the solar system, humanity held its breath. In New York, Sarah felt a surge of power unlike anything she'd experienced before. The Statue of Liberty's eyes blazed with brilliant light. Similar scenes played out at awakened sites around the world. The pyramids of Giza shooting beams into space, Stonehenge spinning like a massive energy turbine, the Easter Island statues forming a linked network of power conduits. In orbit, the moon's surface shifted, revealing hidden structures that had lain dormant for millions of years. A massive cannon emerged from the lunar surface, aimed at the approaching fleet. President Rodriguez's voice echoed in every human mind. This is the moment we've prepared for. Channel every ounce of energy you have. Show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. With a collective effort of will, billions of humans focused their power. The defense grid hummed to life, energy coursing between continents and leaping into space. The Galactic Empire ships entered firing range, their weapons charging. But before they could attack, the Earth responded. A blinding flash erupted from the lunar cannon, followed by a wave of energy that rippled out from every awakened site on the planet. The coordinated blast caught the enemy fleet off guard, tearing through their front lines. In Nevada, Aisha watched in awe as her screens lit up with data. The blast, she whispered, it's not just damaging their ships. It's rewriting their technology, turning it to our side. Around the world, humans cheered as they saw the results of their united effort. Ship after ship in the enemy fleet went dark, then reactivated with a different energy signature. Sarah, still atop the Statue of Liberty, felt a new presence in the global link. Alien minds, confused but gradually aligning with Earth's defenders. We did it, she breathed, her words echoing through the link. We not only defended ourselves, we've started to convert our enemies. As the remains of the Galactic Empire fleet retreated, humanity realized the true scale of their victory. They had not just survived their first cosmic battle. They had demonstrated a power that would reshape the galaxy. Earth, once a hidden fortress, now stood revealed as a beacon of hope and strength. And humanity, awakened to their true potential, looked to the stars not with fear, but with a sense of destiny. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The era of human galactic influence had begun. The days following Earth's victory over the Galactic Empire's fleet were filled with a mixture of celebration and intense preparation. Humanity had tasted its power, but they knew the real challenge was yet to come. In the transformed Statue of Liberty, now a gleaming command center, Sarah Johnson stood before a holographic display of the galaxy. Countless points of light represented worlds under the Empire's control. They won't take this defeat lightly, she murmured, her enhanced mind processing strategic possibilities at lightning speed. As if in response to her thoughts, alarms blared. Dr. Aisha Khan's face appeared on a nearby screen, her expression grave. Sarah, we're detecting massive energy signatures approaching from multiple vectors. It's not just a fleet this time. They're bringing everything they've got. President Rodriguez's voice echoed through the global link. All Earth defenders, prepare for battle. This is the moment that will define our species. Across the planet, humans moved with purpose. The initial joy of their awakened powers had given way to grim determination. They were no longer just fighting for Earth, but for the freedom of countless worlds oppressed by the Empire. In orbit, the converted ships from the previous battle took up defensive positions. Their alien crews, minds now linked with humanity's collective consciousness, stood ready to defend their new allies. Dr. Chen's voice crackled over the comms. We've finished analyzing the progenitor data. There's a way to broadcast our energy conversion wave across the entire galaxy. But what? Sarah asked, sensing his hesitation. It would require channeling the energy of every human on Earth simultaneously. The strain could be catastrophic. A heavy silence fell. The cost would be enormous, but the alternative was unthinkable. Billions of lives across the galaxy hung in the balance. President Rodriguez's voice was solemn. We must try. For the sake of all sentient beings, we must succeed. As the Empire's armada appeared in the solar system, Earth made its final preparations. The moon's cannon charged to full power, Awakened sites across the planet hummed with energy, and every human stood ready to give everything they had. The enemy struck first, a barrage of energy weapons lighting up space. Earth's defenses held, barely, as converted ships took the brunt of the assault. Sarah, her mind linked with the planetary defense grid, felt every hit like a physical blow. "Now," she shouted, her voice carrying to every defender. As one, humanity focused its will. Power surged through the ancient machines, building to levels never before seen. The strain was immense. Across the globe, people cried out in pain but held firm. In Nevada, Aisha's fingers flew over her controls. Conversion wave primed, broadcasting in 3, 2, 1. A pulse of blinding light erupted from Earth, expanding outward at impossible speeds. It washed over the Empire's fleet, and for a moment, everything went silent. Then, ship after ship began to power down, their crews frozen in place as the wave rewrote the very fabric of their beings. The transformation that had taken hours in the previous battle now happened in seconds. But the wave didn't stop there. It raced outward, engulfing planets, star systems, entire sectors of the galaxy. Everywhere it touched, oppressed beings felt their shackles fall away, their minds opening to a new way of existence. On Earth, the strain was catastrophic. Awakened sites crumbled, their power spent. Millions collapsed, their bodies smoking from the energy they had channeled. Sarah fell to her knees atop the Statue of Liberty, her vision blurring. Through the fading global link, she felt the tide of the battle turning, not just around Earth, but across the entire galaxy. As consciousness slipped away, she saw flashes of distant worlds celebrating their newfound freedom. The Empire, once a terrifying force of oppression, was being transformed into a network of allied worlds, united by the gift of awakening. In her last moments of awareness, Sarah felt a presence, ancient, powerful, approving. The progenitors, or something like them, watching as their children took their first steps onto the galactic stage. "Well done," a voice seemed to whisper in her mind. "The test is passed. The legacy is yours." Then darkness took her, and Sarah knew no more. Across Earth, similar scenes played out. The price of victory had been high, but in their sacrifice, humanity had changed the course of galactic history forever. As the dust settled and the survivors began to assess the aftermath, one thing became clear: the age of the Galactic Empire was over. The era of Earth and its awakened allies had just begun. The galaxy would never be the same again. The sun rose over a changed Earth. Cities lay in ruins, great machines of the progenitors stood silent, and the air itself seemed to hum with residual energy. But amidst the destruction, there was hope. Sarah Johnson opened her eyes, surprised to find herself alive. She lay in a makeshift hospital, surrounded by others who had survived the final confrontation. Her body ached, but her mind was clearer than ever before. "Welcome back," a familiar voice said. Dr. Aisha Khan stood nearby, looking exhausted but relieved. "You've been unconscious for a week." Sarah sat up slowly, memories flooding back. The battle. Did we win? Aisha's tired face broke into a smile. "We did more than win. We changed everything." Over the next few days, Sarah learned the full extent of what had happened. The energy wave that Earth had broadcast hadn't just defeated the Galactic Empire. It had awakened every sentient being it touched, just as the progenitors' technology had awakened humanity. Across the galaxy, oppressed worlds found themselves free, their former overlords transformed into allies. The rigid hierarchy of the Empire had given way to a vast network of awakened civilizations, all linked by their newfound abilities and shared consciousness. But the victory had come at a great cost. Millions on Earth had perished in the final push, their bodies unable to withstand the strain of channeling such immense energies. The survivors mourned, even as they began the work of rebuilding. President Rodriguez, one of the lucky survivors, addressed what remained of the United Nations. Her voice, once broadcast only to Earth, now reached across the stars. "We have paid a heavy price for our freedom, and for the freedom of countless others," she said, her words translated instantly into thousands of alien languages. "But in our sacrifice, we have forged a new future for all sentient beings." As Earth recovered, it found itself at the center of a new galactic community. Ships arrived daily, carrying representatives from worlds that, until recently, humanity hadn't known existed. They came seeking guidance, offering aid, and proposing alliances. In what was once Central Park, now transformed into a sprawling spaceport, Sarah watched as sleek alien craft landed. She stood with Aisha and Dr. Chen, marveling at how quickly their world had changed. "The progenitors chose well when they selected humanity as guardians," a melodious voice said behind them. They turned to see a being of pure energy, its form shifting and swirling. "You're one of them?" Aisha asked, awe in her voice. The being's form rippled in what might have been a nod. "We are what remains of those you call progenitors. We have watched and waited, hoping that one of our seeded worlds would rise to the challenge. You have exceeded our greatest hopes." As news of the progenitors' return spread, excitement rippled through the global and galactic consciousness. Ancient knowledge, long thought lost, began to flow freely. The Age of Awakening, as it came to be known, had truly begun. Months passed, and Earth transformed. The scars of battle faded as cities were rebuilt, incorporating both human innovation and alien technology. The first human faster-than-light ship prepared for its maiden voyage, its crew a mix of humans and former Empire citizens. On the day of the launch, Sarah stood on the bridge of the ship, now Captain Johnson of the Earth Alliance vessel Phoenix. Beside her, representatives from a dozen alien worlds manned their stations, their minds linked in perfect harmony. As the ship rose from Earth's surface, Sarah felt a swell of emotion. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger. They had confronted an empire and birthed a federation. Now they were taking their first steps into a galaxy full of wonders and challenges. "Phoenix to Earth control," Sarah said, her voice steady. "We are ready for a dimensional jump." President Rodriguez's voice came through, clear and proud. "You carry the hopes of Earth and our new allies with you, Phoenix. Go forth and explore. Show the galaxy the best of what humanity and all awakened beings can be." With a flash of light, the Phoenix leaped into the unknown. Earth watched, no longer a hidden fortress, but a shining beacon of unity and progress. The journey that had begun with a warning to stay away had led humanity to the stars and beyond. As the ship disappeared from view, a sense of anticipation filled every awakened mind on Earth and across the galaxy. The future was unwritten, full of possibilities. And humanity, once alone and ignorant of its true potential, now stood ready to help shape that future. The greatest adventure in the history of all sentient beings had only just begun.